Okay, so just a little preview of what we're going to aim to produce here. So mobile pop-up text effect. So if I just play this through, we're going to add some notification sound to it as well. So two text messages being exchanged. Okay, so that's what we're going to aim to produce. Okay, so first thing to do once you've created the project is to import in the video file and the audio file. If you go to the project panel here, just click on the two arrows, make sure you've got the project view selected, and then right click and go to import, go to your project folder, and in there you just control click the audio and video file, bring those into the project panel, and drag the video down onto the timeline. Okay, so just the video onto the timeline. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do is create a rectangle graphic. Okay, so if you go to the toolbar, again, any of these panels you can adjust them. So I'm just going to drag that in so I've got a clearer view of the timeline. Select the rectangle tool. Okay, and then just draw out a simple rectangle. Okay, I'll let you judge the size. You'll see that automatically creates a graphic layer here. Okay, and then with the graphic still selected, if you go over to the Essential Graphics panel here, if you can't see it, just go to Window and select Essential Graphics here. And then underneath Align and Transform, you will see this curved corner radius symbol. We're going to increase that, and as we increase that, you will see that the corners of your rectangle become curved. So I'm going to set mine to 30 and just activate and type in 30 there. Okay, we're going to change its opacity. To do that, we're going to use Effects Controls. Again, another very useful panel. Again, if you can't see it, so one way to get to it is click on the double arrow here, Effect Controls. If you can't see it, again, go to Window and just tick Effect Controls. We're going to change the opacity. So again, you've got lots of properties you can manipulate here. If you go down at the bottom here, we've got opacity. I'm just going to reduce that down from 100 to 80. Okay, just to give that a little bit of transparency. Okay, now we can duplicate, if we go down to the timeline, we can duplicate this rectangle. So if you hold down Alt, click on the graphic object and just drag up to create a second layer. Okay, now we want the second graphic to appear slightly after the first one. So we'll just drag that so there's a slight offset between them. In fact, I'm going to drag the first one in a bit as well and then drag the second one in further. Now I just want to align these one above the other, so if I click on the second graphic object here, just click on the actual rectangle on the timeline, drag, then hold down Shift to align the drag and just drag that directly below the previous one. Okay, now just to go over how to change the colour of your pop-up bubbles here. Very simply, we can go to Essential Graphics again here, just under the Edit tab. I don't think I mentioned that before. So under the Edit tab, you've got Appearance, you've got the Fill colour here. So we can change the text bubbles to whatever colour we want. You can just click on it on the screen there. See where it says Appearance Fill. So I'm going to go with a green for the reply. And I'm going to go for a blue with the initial one, which is fine there. I'm going to just offset maybe a bit of a bright green. That I'll go for a bit quite as bright. Okay, and then again you can decide how you want to arrange this. I think I'm just going to do that over the other side. I'm just going to do it offset underneath there. Okay, and then using the text tool, which we're familiar with, I'm just going to type an initial message on this one, on the initial message, and then again I can go to the properties here. This is very familiar now, I think. I'm going to use a font called Roboto, which is similar to, to make sure I apply that, I've just got to make sure I've selected the text, so I'll click and drag back across the text, search for that font, Okay, and then I can scale the size there till it kind of fits inside the speech bubble. Okay, position it. Again, I'm just going to do all this manually, and then I'm going to repeat that with the response. In fact, I think you should be able to. I can just copy this initial text, hopefully. Let me do that. Yeah, and then I can reuse that. I just need to make sure that goes onto the correct layer, so make sure I'm on the response layer and then paste it. And I can change the response a bit. Using the selection tool obviously to place things. Alright, so we've got our initial message and then our follow-up message. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in a bit on the timeline there so I can see a bit more closely what's happening, because I want to bring in the audio now and synchronize that with the graphics. So if I go back to the double arrow here, go back to the project window, we've got our audio file here. Again, very simply, I can just drag this onto the timeline. Now I want to edit this a bit. If you see there are two sounds there, if you look at the waveform, I just want the first sound. So if I double click on that, you can go into the edit window here, and I can change the mark in here, the mark in point. I want that at the beginning of this sound, this waveform here, and then the mark out point, which I want at the end of it. So I'm just isolating that particular sound. I don't want this sound here. Again, I can test that. I can just play it. Sorry, let me go back. So this initial sound I want. So that's fine. That's all I need. That edit will have been applied to the clip here. So again, sorry, let me just go back to let me just test that. So I'm going to synchronize that with this initial clip graphic here. So if I just drag it to there, you'll see it kind of snaps to the beginning of the graphic there. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I'll just test it. Yep, so that's fine. So I can reuse that now. Again, if you remember, if I hold down Alt, click on the sound file, I can just drag it onto a second sound layer down here. Okay, that's fine. And then I can sync that up with the start of the second graphic. Alright, just play through. That's fine. Alright, and there we have it. So we've completed the mobile pop-up text effect with sound.